Hi guys, my name is Jimmy Cage and this is In the Heart of the Sea.
Monsters. Are they real?
Before man started to drill the earth to get that precious oil, they hunted down whales to a great extent. They went to the sea, chased them down and came back with barrels full of oil extracted from the head cavities of the sperm whale. That waxy substance was used for many different things, like making candles or lubricant, and in one great scene of the movie, little Tom Holland and soon-to-be Spider-Man has to crawl into a tiny hole that was cut into the head of a whale. This moment was fascinating to me because it was repulsive, grotesque, and something that distinguished In the Heart of the Sea from other movies. But unfortunately, there's too little of stuff like this, and later on they keep on withholding the things that would have made a difference. But let's start at the beginning. Ron Howard's In the Heart of the Sea tells the story that supposedly inspired the great classic novel Moby Dick by author Herman Melville. In reality, Melville's novel was inspired by more actual events than just the one told here, but it's true that the sinking of the Nantucket ship Essex in 1820 had a big influence on him. So the movie is not Moby Dick and there is no real Captain Ahab here. Instead, you have the first mate Owen Chase, played by Chris Hemsworth, who is living to be out on the sea. But due to his lacking noble heritage, he's denied being captain even though it was promised to him. Benjamin Walker plays the real captain of the ship, and in an attempt to create a conflict, that guy can't stand Owen Chase and lets him know that throughout the first act of the movie. In the Heart of the Sea was marketed more like an action movie starring Chris Hemsworth, and it is partially. While there's not as much man versus whale confrontation as you suspect, the movie works alright as a disaster/survival film. Everything is alright, and while it's far from being a shipwreck, I think it could have been a lot better. What I liked most about it was that raw feeling of the life on the sea. The way the ship feels, all those ropes, unwashed men and lousy food. The cinematography gave the movie its own tone, I thought. For most of the time the camera is pretty close and the screen is almost always filled with something in the foreground. The 3D tends to be almost gimmicky, but I thought it was fitting. They try to suck you into the movie, try to establish a feeling of being there on the ship. Water is constantly leaving its mark on the screen, and I thought it was at least something to make the journey visually interesting. Because from a character standpoint the movie is a little bit disappointing. Neither Owen Chase nor the captain or the young boy played by Tom Holland are really that engaging, and the tension between them felt forced and also overused. I think when you expect a case study of the human nature of greed, of obsession, you might be a little bit let down. Owen Chase is no Ahab and he's not supposed to be, but the character he is feels a little bit shallow, I think. But I also think it wouldn't have been a big problem if they focused more on the adventure part of it all. But then they give you this frame story with Ben Whishaw playing the author of the book Herman Melville, and the whole story of the Essex, the whole story of Chris Hemsworth's character, is laid out as a flashback told by his older self, who is portrayed by Gleeson. And for me there were some problems with that. One, too often they cut back to it, which slows the movie down. When we are on the sea and things starting to get real, we don't need those two guys sitting at a table talking about it. They tried to show how the Essex event somewhat destroyed Owen Chase, how he couldn't talk about it all these years until now when Melville is visiting him. But the big revelations are not really coming. Yeah, the surviving stuff is handled alright, but nothing you haven't really seen before. I won't spoil it here, but they are talking about some very gruesome things, and I think it would have been better to show us more of that. Not just talking about it, but showing us. And I don't say that I need graphical stuff by all means, but I think it would have fitted the tone of the movie better. This is an extreme situation, life and death, beginning of the 19th century, in the middle of the ocean. It has no fairy tale approach to it like, for example, Life of Pi. It should feel real, gritty, and maybe you should want to close your eyes because you can't handle all the stuff. But it never actually gets to that point. It's more like worn out faces and the idea of extreme measures you have to take in order to survive. But because the characters are not the strong point of it all, it doesn't get to that level where you're feeling really engaged and gripped by what's going on. So in the end, In the Heart of the Sea is alright. It's an average survival movie with some nice visual treats, some pretty awesome whale scenes, and many hints of what could have been. Like always, I would love to hear what you think about the movie, so please tell me in the comments below.
It's just a whale.